marathon, which we did 2 or 3 times a year around Central Park for 24 hours. You're bicycling, and I didn't know Dad was there, but he would be viewing me. He says, "Casey, what in the hell are you doing? Riding a bike for 20? Does that make any sense?" Yeah. And I said, "Dad, it's self-transcendence." And Dad goes, "What?" It's like saying it's ravioli and cheese. It doesn't mean anything to Dad. Poor Dad. Between my sister and I, and my mom was an alcoholic. The whole family was nuts. Dad took me to a psychiatrist because my sister got cured, quote, cured by the real guy. And I said, "Yeah, Dad, you can take me to a psychiatrist. I don't care." So we go to a psychiatrist in Manhattan, and everywhere in his place, his office, are Buddhas, Krishna statues, all this stuff. And I tell him my dad doesn't understand Eastern religions, and he says, I'll talk to him. So we talk to the dad. Dad is always in the waiting room. Then he talks to me, then that calls Dad in. And he tells Dad that it's totally okay what he's doing. And Dad, when we get outside, Dad says, "We got to get somebody else." So I said, "Dad, it's okay. We can get somebody else. I don't care."
The shrink is just as crazy.
Yeah, the trick was, so then we get a clinical psychiatrist, who's basically a doctor, and he wants to see if you're nuts.
Yeah,
whatever. But I wasn't. And so Dad's in the waiting room like he always is, and he says, "People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. What does that mean?" And I said, I don't know exactly what it means, but, I explained it in some way, that showed that I was not stupid anyway. And then he says, "What's the difference between a fly and a tree?" Something like that. No, what's the difference between a common house fly and a tree? And I'm starting to twitch a little bit because what is the difference, what do they have in common? I forget what it was. No, it's here. What do they have in common? A common housefly and a tree. So my dad's in there in the waiting room, and I said they both have shadows. I thought that was a good idea. I really didn't. What are you going to say? They're both alive? Duh. Yeah, but I wasn't even that far. Don't forget, I wasn't doing that well. And so then he goes, "Very good." And then he calls Dad in, and he says, "Casey's sharp as a tack," which is a good thing, Yeah. So then we're going back in Dad's sports car. Dad has a sports car, and I say, "Dad, he asked me a really tough question. I don't know, boy. I don't know if I did well on it because I knew it was going to be tough for Dad." I said, "What does a common housefly and a tree have in common?" And I make it sound like it's really a stupid question. Who gives a damn? And Dad's, kind of driving, and he's not saying anything for about 5 minutes. And then he says, "How in the hell am I supposed to know?" And so, but he's trying to think of something, And this is the psychiatrist that Dad brought me to. So I tell you, I didn't laugh. I said, "I know, it's really tough, right?" And he goes,
"That is so funny."